My name is Jen, and I am on a journey in order to break free from the destructive patterns of disordered eating and in order to embrace a nourishing lifestyle. My roadmap can be described using an acronym of the word Nourisher. So I'm doing daily video blog posts in order to encourage you, equip you, and keep you up to date on my progress. If this content is helpful or encouraging to you, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing with others. It is my deep desire that these videos would help to ignite nourishing transformations in us all. Hi everybody, and welcome to day 22 of my Nourisher Check In. I'm so glad to have you back with me today, and I hope that it has been a nourishing day for you today. So for me, my head is so full. So many things to share with you today, so let's dive right in. Number one in our Nourisher Check-In, of course, is the letter N, which stands for Notice My Emotions. Now, we talk about this every single day, what my emotions primarily were that day and how I sought to process them or to calm them, to notice them, and then to give them a voice. But I want to press pause again because I was reminded today of how critical it is that this step is. I'm reading a new book called To Eat or Not to Eat by Evonne, I don't even know how to pronounce her last name, and Sue Paton, two ladies from Australia who speak not only from their educational and clinical experience, but also from personal experience of battling through an eating disorder and coming out on the side of recovery as well. I'm really enjoying the book so far and look forward to talking through some of the things that I'm learning and contemplating as I go through this book. So the one thing that they said that really rang true to me is this idea that people who struggle with eating disorders tend to have a very difficult time being either aware of their emotions or expressing and processing their emotions. And that is something that I have definitely found as I've interacted with so many people who are in similar journeys out of binge eating or out of different disordered patterns of eating, that this idea of understanding how we are feeling, what we are feeling, and then being able to articulate that, let alone to articulate it to someone else, feels like a very, very big thing to learn how to do, and something that maybe wasn't natural to us in the more developmental stages of life. Now, I want to read something that they wrote that was super interesting to me in this book, To Eat or Not to Eat. They said that we are extremely disconnected from our feelings when we struggle with disordered eating. And the very job of the obsession with food or weight or body image is to keep us from being connected with our feelings. And so it is difficult to share them when we are so disconnected. So that idea that actually, we've talked about it a little bit before, but that our eating disorders are functional. They're doing something for us, either blocking pain or helping to soothe and ease pain or discomfort, or the fact that if we don't know how to manage these big emotions, they are our way of managing the emotions or of stuffing them back down, or a number of different ways to work it out. For me, certainly, they have become the vehicle or the way that I ended up, or I learned how to manage strong emotions that I either wasn't fully aware of or that I didn't have other skills and ways of managing. So I managed them through food and found a tremendous amount of comfort, rest, joy, a remedy for loneliness, so many different things that I found in food, that now we need to learn how to find those things in other ways, how to actually feel these emotions, and then what on earth do we do with them when we feel them, if we're not going to turn to food for that. The other thing, of course, that it talks about is, and it's very difficult to share those feelings when we're so connected. When we're talking about opening up to others, the book talks about, and I'm not even going to unpack it all now, but the book talked about the fact that they drew a parallel between the way that we interact with food and the way that we interact in real relationships. And again, I need to sit down and think through this. and look back and ask my loved ones how I've showed up for relationships. But I can definitely see this as a pattern in my life, being someone who is a binge eater, meaning I have, really dive into like large and heavy amounts of food and then go into a more restrictive cycle after that. I can definitely see, I've always said I'm really good at being the welcoming committee, but I'm not good for the long haul. In relationships. And so many of you who are in relationships with me know that about me, that I can be very intense and very, very present at the beginning, and then end up, getting swept away by whatever task or job or other important thing ends up coming up. And I love those intense times of rich relationships that I've had with so many. But I am more and more now valuing and cherishing and trying to invest more deeply in sustained, longer relationships that I know ultimately will be nourishing in the end. So a few thoughts about that book. I'm sure there'll be lots more as I go through it, but really am finding that to be an interesting and helpful read so far. So rewiring my brain, again, this is all part and parcel. Oh no, sorry, understanding the cycle. So understanding the cycle, for me today, the big thing here for me was how fatigue plays into the cycle and how it can just totally trip us up. Of course, as you know, I'm doing this post a lot earlier than I normally do, and I'm trying to get to bed earlier. I really need the sleep. I can feel like my glands are swollen and my body is telling me get to bed, so I will listen. But fatigue, when you look at the cycle and you think of this, like when we're restricting and then we end up kind of getting tired or overwhelmed or frustrated, and then there's just a trigger and off we can go into the disordered patterns. And I'm feeling the fatigue today, but thankfully, rather than turning to food or trying to, provide false energy that way, I sat on the couch, actually fell asleep for a little bit in the afternoon, went for a walk, did some other things that were helpful rather than letting me be triggered. So I think I stayed off of that flywheel of the cycle today, but know that it does not take much fatigue and many more. If I was to stay up and pull an all-nighter tonight, tomorrow would be a very, very difficult food day. Rewiring my brain today was great to be outside in nature. I did use, because we just talked about it yesterday, I did use the half smile several times today, a lot of deep breathing, and a couple of times was able to enjoy some grounding exercises. And that's again where sometimes you can just use your five senses and just really enjoy whatever's around you by saying, these are 5 things that I see, these are 5 things that I smell, these are 5 sounds that I can hear. And even if there's things that you can touch, and really help ground yourself and enjoy that moment and give your parasympathetic system some time to rest and that's the system, of course, it's called the rest and digest system. So let everything slow down a little bit. Insulin-friendly eating went very well today. Again, I had developing a bit of a sore throat, so just decided to have lots of vitamin C in the evening, and I had some bone broth around, so tried to keep it easy and light and nourishing this evening so that I can now go and work on sleep. Hydration also went very well today. I did, for E, I did a very, they say that necessity is the mother of invention, but today necessity was the mother of exercise for me, because I forgot my purse actually at a friend's house, and that friend lives a fair way up a mountain. So I parked at the bottom of the hill and I walked up and got it, and it was so good. It's so good to have something where you can't just turn around and go back down. You've got to get up to the top of that mountain. So that was a wonderful incentive for me today, and I had my water bottle with me, and I've got the water all filled by the door, ready to go. And of course, this hydration just helps keep all of our systems working well. And also, so often when my body is giving me a hunger cue, it's actually often because it's thirsty. So if I can keep that hydration, that helps keep my hunger cues in check, and hopefully will get me more and more to the point where I can start to trust the hunger cues and the satiation cues for what they really are. So for my reward today, is the hope that I will be able to greater and greater degrees all the time experience true comfort from kind of being able to self-soothe, true comfort by being able to relate to God in a true way. Because remember, in the same ways that we have maybe learned patterns, or because of our individual personalities, we have maladapted patterns of dealing with our emotional lives, that impacts all relationships, and that also impacts our relationship, if you're a person of faith, impacts your relationship with God too. So I trust, and one of those rewards that I am working towards is being able to establish true comfort from self-soothing, from my relationship with God, and from my relationship with other people, rather than finding that comfort in food. So now it's been over 3 weeks without finding that comfort from food, and I'm feeling pretty good. Like I wouldn't have expected at a time maybe when I was only trying to manage the symptoms of my binge eating disorder rather than actually getting to the heart of it. I would have been going stir crazy emotionally by now. But this Nourisher acronym really has been so great and so fulfilling for me. So thank you for joining me, and I really look forward to interacting with you in the comments and to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye for now.